There was a chartered flight, Sunwing Airlines, from Montreal to Mexico, I think, from what I understand, where a group of social media influencers and other, I guess YouTube, I don't know, YouTube or Instagram, I guess social media celebrities, not celebrities, but social media influencers, I'll just keep it to that. They were, most of all, which were from Montreal. They were partying on a Sunwing flight, and this was a planned flight to Mexico. And it shows video. I think there was video out there as well as pictures of them. Basically, no social distancing, no masking. Like there was no masks. This is pretty irresponsible. I understand. I like to have a good time. People like to have a good time. I've never been on a flight though where people were partying. Ever. I don't know if they couldn't wait. I understand they were going to get involved in festivities in Mexico. They were going to Tulum. So Tulum is like the new hotspot for tourists. It seems like a hotspot for spring break type activities. It seems like everybody talks about going to Tulum. So it looks like they were going to Tulum. I know that I read that she says she's stranded there. Actually, this was the one person that was testing positive for COVID. And according to the organizer, she didn't tell anyone because they weren't taking, of course, you can't test positive and be in a crowd like that. It was said that, I don't know if it was 189 or 150 people were said to be partying. The way they worded it in some of the articles was that only maybe a dozen to up to 20 people were actually partying, and like the rest were kind of not participating. But it seems like they're saying that all of them are being punished for what a few did, and I can see how that could happen. I mean, you're in a crowded plane, enough people partying. They're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna differentiate. They should, but it's kind of tough. You're basically going to get lumped in with the bad apples. Not to sound cliche, they say one bad apple spoils the bunch. So they say. I don't know. I do feel bad for someone who was like sleeping in the corner somewhere and while people were partying. That they're totally innocent of this, but it seems like some airlines don't care. That they say that people were vaping, smoking. The organizer, he said that in one article, he said only one person was actually smoking. It's like when one person does something, they make it like more than one person was doing. It's against the rules. But most of them were not vaping or drinking, according to the organizer. Again, these influencers, reality stars, I think they should exercise more responsibility and more restraint. I don't know if, partying on a plane, whether it's chartered or not, it's just, I just don't think that's responsible. Funny enough, I was listening to a documentary. This is kind of a side story about WWE wrestlers that were flying on a flight and getting drunk and flirting with the stewardesses. I thought this was it seems similar, not exactly similar, but similar in a way. Again, they were getting drunk and partying. I think this was in one of the documentaries on the professional wrestling, and when it was starting to get popular when they emerged. I think WWE and NWA. Anyway, we get back to the Sunwing story in the Montreal party. It says that a lot of airlines, Sunwing, Air Canada, they say they're not going to let the passengers back on the planes to come back to Canada. I know some of them do say they're still in Mexico, and some of them seem to be on vacation, while others say they are stuck. The young lady that was COVID positive, they tested COVID positive, said she's in isolation in Mexico, but she feels stranded. She says she doesn't have money to stay too long or find a place to stay too long. Again, we make decisions and there's consequences for our decisions. It's tough, but she didn't tell him when she tested positive. She went on a flight, and then more trouble happened, and now she's, I guess, by her account, stranded in Mexico. They basically said that they feel abandoned by the organizer. He's in trouble himself. So it's kind of like they're kind of all imploding, snitching on each other, even to the point where they said they were sending messages to, I guess, say they're going to put Vaseline on their noses, or they're sending messages to tell each other to put Vaseline on their nose to bypass the COVID testing. And they said some actually did that. This is a crazy story. There was so much going on. A lot of them are hiding from journalists. They don't want to answer questions. Because I don't see a lot of questions being answered by a lot of these people. I just see overall answers, or I think the organizer had a meeting in Clubhouse where he said he was going to answer questions. Again, he just kind of reiterated what people were saying. He said only a few were partying, and that everyone who went to Mexico should not be punished. I think they said 150 or 189. These articles aren't consistent with the numbers. And they said at least a dozen had made it back to Canada. Someone started a rumor that said one was arrested. I don't know for sure. Again, these articles aren't always clear. They say that they're, again, investigating. Sunwing has said they're cooperating with the government. I know that they're canceling any return trip. So they say, for some of the influencers. And I read that there could be fines of up to 5,000. I wonder if it's going to be 5,000 per person, or they're charging the group 5,000 as a group. I don't know. But I think this is kind of irresponsible. They should have had their masks. They should have been drinking. They should have been partying. This puts the pilots at risk. This puts the stewardesses at risk. This puts other people's families at risk. Even the people in the airports, because you have at least one confirmed COVID positive person on this flight, and then they can infect others on the flight, as well as infect the flight crew and infect other people in two airports. I don't know if they stop anywhere else, but the potential for this spreading, it's just very, very irresponsible. I don't know what to say, but where they go from here, the story is still unfolding. I can say that this is kind of like a bad look for all of them, and some of them are basically defending their actions or even deflecting. I know one guy said, the airline flight staff was selling alcohol and not recording it on the books. Again, I don't know what that has to do with them being without masks and partying. I find that interesting. I would look at this and say that this is not something that I would want to participate in. To be honest, that's kind of scary, right? Especially at this time, people just partying and being careless, and who knows if they were truly negative, because it only speaks up on one person that tested positive. It doesn't say the status of the rest. For all we know, half of them could have been positive. But again, it's pretty irresponsible. Just feel free to let me know what you think, and or send me an email. And I really appreciate you for listening. Thank you very much.